Hello and welcome to Kayla's World. I'm Kayla Canoe, author, YouTuber, gamer, and aerialist. And today's video, I am going to be doing the Authortube Oldie Tag, which was created by Lindsay Puckett. And I know I did the Authortube Newbie Tag and the Authortube Newbie Tag 2.0 like a while back, and those were created by Jenna Streety, all of which I'm going to be linking below, so if you want to check out those original tag videos, they will be down there. But I figured it was time to kind of revamp and renew my tag because not really a newbie anymore, so let's do this oldie tag. Alright, so the first question is, how long have you had your Authortube channel? So it is actually getting really close to my 3-year mark. So to be fair, the first year I posted a few videos and then kind of dropped off and then kind of came back later and got more into it. So I've actually been consistently posting videos for 2 years, but I have had my channel for 3. And some of those videos are real old and cringe. So yeah, anyway, that's how long I've had my channel. And question number 2, what aspect of writing have you improved since joining? And honestly, the answer to that question is all of them. When I joined Authortube, I was completely new to this whole writing thing. If you guys haven't heard me talk about this before, like my writing career or aspirations came really late in life because even though like I always created stories and characters and worlds in my mind, I never considered writing to be an actual career, and so I never really studied writing or the craft or any of that or practiced any of it, outside of like the traditional English classes that you have to take in school and in college. So I am a late bloomer in that sense. So, over the past year or two, going through the process of writing a novel, writing the first draft, replotting it, and I mean like replotting it, and then rewriting it for draft 2, and then having beta readers look at it and kind of editing it myself again, and then going through like the professional editing process where I have an editor do developmental edits, and then I edit it from their feedback, and then copy edits, and then I edit again from their feedback. Like, everything has improved. My writing has definitely improved. My writing process has improved and changed over time. And like, it's crazy. It's crazy just to think about how much has changed in, a couple years, because, the more you write, the better you become at writing. And that is very true because, I don't know, you can just like see the difference. Like I can tell the difference, like my draft 0 for The Reckoning compared to my draft 0 for what I just wrote for NaNoWriMo this past year, which was my Space Slave trilogy, the beginning of it. And like the quality differences in that writing, based off of all kinds of things. I won't go into too much detail, but basically every aspect of writing has improved for me significantly since I started doing Authortube. Number 3, what are your biggest writing accomplishments since starting your channel? Well, biggest writing accomplishment has got to be publishing my debut novel, the adult dark fantasy, The Reckoning, which it comes out on April 14th, so it hasn't actually published yet, but it's basically done. I've gone through all the editing with the professional editor. Right now it's actually being formatted, so it's getting a beautiful design from a professional formatter, and it's already out for pre-order for ebooks, and yeah, so that is definitely my biggest accomplishment, is getting that book from the crazy rough draft that it was, because I went through so many versions. Like I had 3 different versions of the book before I actually got a full first draft written, and then I replotted the whole thing and rewrote it, which is more similar to what it is now, although obviously big edits and changes did happen still. So that is definitely my biggest accomplishment. Going through the whole process and getting the novel from like concept to completion, even though it's not technically out yet, like it's completed. So that is definitely my biggest accomplishment, and it's kind of crazy to think about. All right, number 4. Has your drafting style, plotter, pantser, planter, evolved since you began your channel? Yes. Yes, it has. I will say that when I first started writing, I think I was pantsing. Like, I had no direction and I was just like writing as I went. And I kind of flipped that on its head from doing those first like 3 version trials where I was like, it just wasn't working. Then I moved into plotting and I got the Save the Cat Writes the Novel. And when I mean I re-outlined that book, I went through all the scene cards. I have 3 bulletin boards up in my writing room filled with like individual outlines for each perspective, because I have 3 character perspectives, and like the whole book is outlined like scene for scene, like chapter for chapter. Like I have a chapter outline and everything. So like I went from just completely like freeballing it to I have step by step everything outlined. And now I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle where maybe I will do more of that formal outline after I have a first draft written. But my first draft, it's kind of like a generic, like I might have some ideas of scenes or a general direction. But I am almost sort of like pantsing a little bit for the draft 0 or the first draft, where I'm just like kind of exploring and telling myself the story. And then I will go in and outline it and kind of like strengthen the developmental parts, you know, the arcs and the storyline and all that stuff. So I'm definitely a planter, which it has evolved, and maybe that's what I always have been, but it's like for some drafts I'm pantsing, and then other drafts I'm plotting, so somewhere in the middle, I guess. But yeah, so it's definitely been an interesting process and like progress change. So number 5, if you plan to publish, has your publishing path goals, whether that's traditional, indie, or hybrid, changed since joining? No, I don't think so. So when I joined, I hadn't specifically like made the decision in the sense of like, I don't think I've ever been like, I absolutely will not traditionally publish, or I absolutely am only going to self-publish, or I absolutely want to be a hybrid author. I don't know that I've ever been in a place where I wanted to restrict an option to just like picking one. But that has probably changed because, you know, at first I was trying to focus on the writing, so I wasn't focusing so much on the publishing process. And so I was like, I'm pretty sure I want to self-publish, but I hadn't really put like a whole lot of thought into it. And well, I am self-publishing, and I have my own publishing company now, and it's called Queer SF Books, because we publish queer sci-fi and fantasy books. So that's it. That's what I got. And I am going to continue self-publishing. I wouldn't say that I would not traditionally publish. Like maybe at some point something that I write in the future will catch someone's eye and they'll want to traditionally publish it, and maybe I'll be like, yeah, sure. But honestly, at that point, like I don't know why I would, because I like having control over everything in my life, and I get that with self-publishing. So I don't know that I'm gonna say no permanently to the other 2 options, but self-publishing is definitely where it's at for me. And apparently that has not changed. That I was correct in my assumption that I would like self-publishing. Number 6. What is something writing or channel related you've learned the hard way? I feel like that just depends on what the hard way is, because a lot of the stuff that we do is hard, and I definitely had to take time to learn how to do some of the video editing and figuring out some of like the templating and things like that, which makes life easier to do templating. Um, as far as learning the hard way, I don't know, because I would almost say developmental edits take longer than you think. Because I gave myself like a 6 week window that ended up being an 8 week window because my editor got my developmental edits back to me sooner than I thought she would. So I actually had 8 weeks to work on developmental edits, and I feel like it wasn't enough. Like, it was, like, I got it done, but I feel like I could have done more maybe, or maybe I felt really like pressured for time, and like I was working full time as an author, so like I had 8 weeks of all of my time to devote to editing, and I devoted all of my time to editing, and it was rough. Like, it was rough. So like, learn the hard way. Give yourself more time for developmental edits, because it takes longer than you think. So yeah, I will say I learned that the hard way, and I will definitely be giving myself more time between editor deadlines in the future for doing those developmental edits. Um, but yeah, number 7. In what ways has Authortube changed since you've started your channel? Um, so I was not super like involved in the Authortube community when I first joined. So I don't know that I have the greatest perspective on this. In my opinion, I feel like it's getting bigger. Like, I feel like I see more channels, more smaller channels, just more channels in general, and maybe some of that is because I have gotten a little bit more involved in the community in that sense of, you know, seeking people out and trying to build friendships and stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's gotten bigger in the sense of like there's more people. I'm finding more people now. To be fair, they're all still like a lot of small channels, so like I don't know that we're getting big on YouTube in that sense, but I just feel like there's more people doing it, and also I believe we're like heading more towards the live streaming. So like I think a lot of live write-ins and writing sprints are becoming more and more prevalent and more popular, which I actually do. I do live write-ins on Mondays, which I picked up because I was doing them for NaNoWriMo, and I just kept doing them. And I had some other author friends who were doing live streams before that. So live streams are becoming like a staple, I think, in AuthorTube. So that is definitely one way things have changed. Number 8. What is something that frustrates you about AuthorTube? Um, Honestly, I feel like it's probably more like a YouTube thing than like an AuthorTube thing, but I would definitely agree with Lindsay in the sense that the AuthorTube channels are very small. A lot of them are not getting seen very well, or getting like algorithm wise like bumped to where like they can gain a lot of followers, because I mean I've been doing this for 3 years and I only have like maybe 150 subscribers, and I think a lot of that is like people aren't being found, like the algorithm is not in our favor. So that's kind of frustrating in that sense, but at the same time, you know, it's a niche market, it's a niche channel, and I'm mostly here just to like record my own journey and share that with people who want to know what it's like. So, you know, it's not that terrible in my mind, I guess. Um, Number 9. What is your hope for the future of AuthorTube? Well, I hope it continues to grow. I hope we continue to do more of the big events, like the worldwide write-a-thon, and there was that Oasis retreat thing, which I don't think I actually ended up knowing about until after, or I wasn't able to attend it, which was unfortunate. But I would love to see more big events like that, more coordination, more group things, more interaction in that sense, because it's nice to have a community, and I think having a place for the AuthorTube community would be fantastic, because it makes a huge difference when you have fellow authors and fellow writers who are doing the same thing that you're doing. Like, it's a big difference. That is something I've learned over the past few years is get involved, put in the work, and you will get something out of it. So interact with people, make friends, join Discord communities. It will change your life. Like it will. Um, and then number 10, share some oldie wisdom for newbie authors. So I kind of just said it. I do have a couple actually. So the one thing that I always say, advice wise, is just write, because if you haven't written anything, you can't do anything with it. And developing a writing habit is so important if you want to make this a career, if you want to be serious about this. You have to make the time, make it a priority, and just write. That is my number one piece of advice for anybody, new, old, whatever. Just write, because that's what you're here for, right? Is to write. But the other one along those lines is find your community. Find friends. Get on that Discord. Communicate with others, because I think I got into Discord over the last year, and I've made friends, which is fantastic. I now have a critique partner, which I didn't really have I couldn't conceptualize that before. It's how you can find beta readers, like-minded people who can help you with your stories, people who have been through it, people who are going through it with you. You get that support and that community. And honestly, I got a lot of motivation from it too, because, we're all coming from different backgrounds, and everyone's got different experiences. And I got in with a couple fellow authors, and none of us had been published yet, but the other two ladies that I had become friends with they had places online where you could read samples of their writing for free. And I was like, well, hey, that makes a lot of sense, because then, when I'm doing my YouTube videos or when I'm doing my social media, and talking about my writing, have something available for people to read for free, so that they get kind of a little bit of a taste of my writing style or what I write. Especially as a new publishing author, I feel like that's a great resource, because people are going to take a chance on me if they already like things of mine that they've read. And so because of that, I got motivated to put something out there that people could read for free, and I started my Tapas web novel series, which is called Project Infinity. It is a sci-fi-ish boys love web novel, and I post weekly, and it was a passion project for me. It's not professionally edited or anything like that, but it is a nice place where people can go and read samples of my writing and my storytelling for free, which, hopefully as that following builds, those people that like my writing will also want to, buy my books or read my books when they publish. So yeah, community helped motivate me to put something out there. And I don't know that I would have been inspired to do that had I not gotten involved in the community and met those ladies and seen that they had stuff out there. So find your community, get your motivation, get your support. It's out there, and it is so vital. It's huge. It makes a huge difference, because writing is hard and publishing is harder, and there's a lot of work going into all of this. So get your support, get your group, find your people, because they're out there. And if you need help finding people, I have 2 different Discord servers linked in the description below. One is the Dark Authors group, which, as you guessed it, it's for people who like dark fiction, be that horror, be that, dark fantasy, dark whatever, whether you write it or you read it or you love it, or, honestly, even if you don't write dark fiction, we're all still writers, so you can join that group. And meet fellow authors and writers. And then there's also the NaNoWriMo dedicated server, which does all of the NaNoWriMo events, does some other events. We're always doing different write-ins and things like that. And again, it's open for all writers, all authors. So you're going to find people in there that are probably writing what you're writing. So yeah, those are the Discords I have below. You guys can check those out. Project Affinity, which I mentioned, is also always linked below because you can check it out. It's free. You can find out if you like my writing or not by reading it. And yeah, that is it. That is the oldie tag. I will put all the questions in the description so that if you would like to do the tag yourself, please do it. Tag me when you do your tag. I'd love to see it. And if you guys like these types of videos, let me know. Leave a comment below, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays, and I host live stream write-ins on Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed your time here in Kayla's World.